If you're one of those guys out there who plays Football Manager and completely depends on the user interface to give you information about what team instructions do, you have to watch this show, because the user interface doesn't always paint the right picture. Today, we're going to take a look at a few team instructions and one play instruction, and I'm going to clarify exactly what they mean. Nowadays, I usually explain a lot of this during a live stream, and I use Bring Your Tactics, which happens on Wednesdays, live streaming on btnlive.com, where I take a look at your tactics and then I make certain changes and then I explain some of these instructions and how they impact the game. Today, I'm going to explain this in a much shorter video. The instructions I'm going to explain today are hit early cross, pass into space, and the play instruction, passing risks. I'll explain what they do and I'll also show you how I use them in the game. Play instruction, passing risk, for years we've always thought it just referred to pass into space, right? Because this is exactly what it says. Less passing risk asks players to retain possession first and foremost, playing a sensible and patient passing game without unnecessarily conceding possession to the opposition. More passing risk encourages players to play more low percentage passes and through balls in the hope that one or two of them will unlock the opposition defense in a potentially decisive manner. Literally, it's just about passing. That's what we've been led to believe. Once again, the UI fails to paint the right picture. This instruction is an instruction that you can give to a specific role, influencing how they pass the ball, how they move. In fact, it affects their decision making. So now, if anybody wants to go out there and run an experiment to prove me wrong, please go ahead and do so. This is a play instruction that desperately needs to be updated in the UI, because when you go into the game, right now you have this option here, because when this is not chosen like it does in the case of the advanced forward is given latitude to decide whether or not he should take more risk or take fewer risks. Once again, all these PIs and TIs are just a tendency to do something more off or less off. So if I wanted to use this PI, I would use it with an advanced forward who's got very good acceleration and loves to beat the offside trap. Why? Because then I want him to try to beat the offside trap as often as possible, because since it affects his movement, it will also affect his inclination to try and beat the trap. And this is something I normally do almost without question whenever I play with an advanced forward. For the longest time, people in the community, including me, were thinking, okay, play more risk is the PI for pass into space. That's how we thought, because it puts there on the label passing risk. So that's how we explain it to other people, and that's how we approach the game as well. So how does this work with pass into space? Now, for anybody who has been playing the game since the days of Championship Manager, you probably remember the good old days, right? Where we could tell players to specifically pass to feet or into space. I don't know if you guys can still remember this, but this was a thing back in the day. Now, when SI moved on to the Tactical Creator, they removed this option for individual players along with man marking. Now, if you go into the game, we've got pass into space. It's a team instruction. So this instruction tells us to play passes, increase the tendency of passes to go into spaces between players, because by default, the game passes it to players' feet. So whenever we choose this instruction, we kind of have to be careful, because this ball is going to go into space. So your players have to have good anticipation. They need good acceleration. They need first touch. You also need players who have got good passing. Otherwise, the passes go wild and you end up giving away possession, which is the reason why we normally, when I play the game, I'm looking at the situation in the match. If I don't have a lot of possession, then perhaps I don't want to use pass into space because I might be giving the ball up. And perhaps if I have a team that's very good at movement and I want to go camping, and then maybe I want to use pass into space to try and take advantage of my players better off the ball. Now, this is something that sometimes you might want to use it for tactics that are also sitting back and hitting other teams on the break. You might sit with a mid block and then ask your players to pass the ball into space, because you might have advanced forwards attacking defensive lines. You might have wingers attacking the flanks. Then it becomes a good instruction to use in mid-block systems. But one of these instructions that I recommend highly is this instruction, the hit early cross. Hit early cross is a fantastic instruction because it works so well with mid-block systems. A mid-block system is any system which sits in a mid-block like this. And then you have slightly higher tempo, and you play hit early cross with the combination of pass into space. Now, what you have here is a system that seeks to draw teams into midfield and then start challenging for the ball in that area. Once they enter that area, you win the ball and you're in the middle of their transition because they're attacking you. There's bound to be space behind them on the flanks. So you play hit early cross and pass into space. So take advantage of this to try and score some easy goals. For all you guys out there who just wanted a simple TLDR version of what hit early cross, pass into space, and that PI passing risk do, well, there you go. For the rest of you who are keen on watching some in-game examples, buckle up. Remember that all roles have a tendency to perform in a certain way. Wingers are going to try and get to the byline to deliver their crosses. In most cases, that's what you'll see them do. When certain roles have a tendency to go down to the byline to deliver the cross, you also give more defensive teams time to get into better defensive positions to defend the area. So sometimes the use of hit early cross can be a good thing if you're trying to break down a defensive team. You're trying to get those crosses in earlier before they can get into a defensive posture. In my next match, I'm going to do things slightly differently. I'm going to have two advanced forwards now, both of them with dribble more. Sounds a bit extreme. And I'm telling my team to hit early crosses. We've got our striker. He's been told to take more risks. And the first thing we get, instead of having an early cross, is my striker has been made into an AF. He takes any chance he can to break an offside trap, get inside and score the goal. For the next match, we are dialing it up a bit more. I want to see my players take a bit more risks with their crossing. We are playing attacking. Hit early crosses, the only TI in possession. And as far as our out of possession team instructions go, this is the setting that we're using. I doubt this counts as an early cross, even though he does do a diagonal, but the winger goes down the flank and still tries to get close to the byline to deliver the cross. At this point, I'm thinking, why don't I try pass into space as well? One of my strikers is not 100%. We'll take him off and bring on João Felix. Now I've got two advanced forwards. And one gets through, he scores his third goal before he's taken off. More so to the pressing forward, and then we get another pass into space, and the winger tries to score a goal. Here's another example of a pass into space. Loriente gets the ball, but he'll play into this space, the channel between those two players for the advanced forward to latch onto. There we go. That's a pass into space. You'll see more of that whenever you use that instruction, pass into space. I typically only do, if I wanted to use pass into space, I'll do it only when certain conditions fulfill themselves. Either I'm playing a counter-attacking system, right? And I'm sitting back and there's lots of space and I want my players to attack that space. In that particular case, I might have low possession. And it's certainly a strategy that one could see me use if I'm playing a direct counter-attacking system or a fluid counter-attacking system. Now here, it's a different system. I'm actually camping the opponent's half. I've got lots of possession. I've got 65% possession. I'm willing now to use pass into space, and I'm combining that with hit early cross because I want to get crosses in before they get into defensive positions where there are 6 or maybe even 8 players defending. And I'm also using pass into space to send the ball into the channel so that we can drag this formation out of position. Hit early cross is a good instruction, especially against teams that are sitting back and defending a lot. You want to try and get your crosses in before they can get back to defend. Hit early cross is a fairly simple instruction. Use it in a mid block or against teams that are playing defensively. Pass into space, on the other hand, now this is instruction. You got to be a bit more careful with it because you don't want to just use it with every single tactic in case you're giving away the ball and allowing them to attack you. So I tend to use that a bit more carefully when I know for a fact that, I can use that space to create goal scoring opportunities. Here again is another great ball into space. Our winger latches onto it, delivers the cross to the near post, and our advanced forward makes it 3 in the game. Hit early crosses can happen near the halfway line and towards the penalty area. It's an instruction that is pretty good because you don't waste too much time trying to get to the byline to deliver crosses. Play more risks, hit early cross, and pass into space. I hope that today's video helped explain those concepts to you. If you have any more questions about these instructions, please ask me in the comments below and I'll try and do a video showcasing how these instructions might play out during the course of a game. Meanwhile, thanks for your support. You guys please stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.